Hey everybody, and welcome back to video game Esoterica. On today's episode of Oddity Obscura, we're going to be taking a look at Jumping Flash 2, released in 1996 for the PlayStation 1. It is a direct sequel to the original Jumping Flash that was a launch window release for the PlayStation 1. This game is odd and charming in a way that those mid-90s games always were. You have these crazy characters like Baron Aloha here, and he is the main antagonist to our main character, who is a giant robotic rabbit. Now this is a tongue twister, but he's a giant robotic rabbit, and his name is Robbit. Kind of like Robert, kind of like Rabbit. That's the baseline story. But this game has charm and colorfulness coming out of its butt. It is weird, it's fun, it's quirky. I absolutely love this game, and it actually mixes a lot of different genres up to create a game that's very unique and very charming. Right there, you're looking at Captain Kabuki. The voice actress that does that character is amazing, and you'll see how weird it really gets. But I'll let you guys watch the rest of the intro, and I'll come back with some gameplay and talk more about Jumping Flash 2. But enjoy the voice acting.
Unable to cope with the monstrosity that is Kabuki, he calls Universal City Hall and begs for help as his beloved hideaway is made into so much Swiss cheese. After listening to the Baron's plight, the interstellar dispenser of justice decides to send the only being capable of dealing with a menace such as Captain Kabuki, the freedom-loving, robo-heroic Robert. Tuned up and ready to go the distance, Robert leaps to the scene. Jumping Flash 2, Big Trouble in Little Moo.
You have to absolutely love that voice acting. It's so cartoony. It sounds like it's a Saturday morning cartoon. Especially considering you had games like Resident Evil 1 on the same platform that had voice acting that was atrocious and sounded robotic. Jumping Flash 2 has probably top 10 best voice acted lines in the PlayStation 1 era ever. The really odd and interesting thing about this game is that it's marketed as a first-person shooter, but it has this gigantic verticality to it. It feels more like a game like Descent. Obviously, that was a spaceship, not a giant robotic rabbit, but it has that same kind of feeling of you're able to move in all different directions. You're going underwater, you're going above the ground. It has just a lot of freedom of movement in it that is definitely refreshing, and as far as the PlayStation 1 game's concerned, the areas and environments are huge, considering a lot of PlayStation 1 games occurred in really closed environments, just because they couldn't render those big draw distances and all those polygons out in the open. This game is definitely unique compared to a lot of the other games of that era on the system. I'm really surprised we haven't gotten a modern day incarnation of Jumping Flash. I would absolutely love this in virtual reality. You put Jumping Flash in VR on the PlayStation VR, and it's day one sale for me. Definitely might be nausea-inducing just because you're going so high in the game and falling down, but in virtual reality, that sense of scale would come out in such an incredible way that I think it would be an experience that I'm shocked Sony hasn't thought of yet. Or maybe they have and it's on the way and we just don't know it. Additionally, the soundtrack in this game fits the game perfectly. It's light, it's airy, it's cartoony, and you mix that soundtrack in with the visuals and the kind of goofy nature of the presentation, and you have a package that is absolutely perfect for what it's aiming to do. Gameplay-wise, it is quite easy, yet hard at the same time. The checkpoint system is quite punishing, so actually getting the moves and getting out of the area is quite easy once you know where they are, but if you fall, like if I fell right now, I would lose all my progress and have to go back to the beginning of the level. Now, if you know what you're doing in each level and you know where you're going, it only takes maybe a minute or two to complete each one, but you're definitely going to get some setbacks. And I think we just ran by a gigantic polygonal cheeseburger. Great enemies, got a floating turtle, he's got the stage clear thing on him. It's odd, but it's fun. What I'll let you do is watch this boss right here. It's a giant mechanized shark, and then we're going to go into that Captain Kabuki voiceover cutscene, and that is definitely something I want you to enjoy, so I'm going to stop talking, but I will be back just to wrap up Jumping Flash 2, talk a little bit more about the gameplay and history, and get you to the end.
All right.
Oh my! What a revolting development this has turned out to be.
Hey, Baron. Robert's here. We're saved.
Just because he's the hero don't mean you gotta root for him, Axel.
Jeez. What a grouch.
Now, I'm not saying that Katamari stole the design of the king from Captain Kabuki, but I'm kind of saying Katamari stole the design of the king from Captain Kabuki. Here we are, though, in a completely first-person shooting stage. And this is what I love about Jumping Flash 2 and what makes it so odd and unique, is that they change up the gameplay style pretty regularly. Now that vertical nature of the entire game is gone completely. You have a roof over your head, you can jump, but you can't jump that high, and you are navigating these corridors trying to find those 3 moves so that you can get out of the stage. But that's something that's super unique about this game, is that it mixes the gameplay up enough so that you never get bored of what's going on. You still have these fun, colorful enemies, but now the level's taken a little bit of a darker tone as far as the palette's concerned. You have these underwater segments that you have to navigate through, but as far as being out in that open area and jumping on top of buildings, that is completely gone, and the scale of the game is now shrunk down to something that feels way more like your traditional corridor first-person shooter than it does an open adventure game outdoors. And that is something that I love about this game, is just how often it changes. It pinballs back and forth between different types of gameplay styles, and that's something that makes the game a lot more enjoyable. It's not locked into one genre, one aesthetic, or one otherwise gameplay style. You get this complete mix and match element. This feels like a really fun, really cartoony first-person shooter, something that you would play on a PC, where before you were having stages that were outdoors and huge and felt like something very specific to the PlayStation and the Jumping Flash series. So in that respect, you get a lot of diversity in your gameplay, and for your money, I had this game when it came out as a kid. I absolutely loved it, and it's definitely held up a lot today. I do love those enemies. There is a little bit of difficulty hitting them just because this is a fully 3D environment, so some things are above or below you, and since you don't have that kind of dual analog stick mouse, and keyboard control to hit them, it can be difficult. You see that my shots are just going directly below that spider, and I wasn't hitting him whatsoever. So that can definitely be a little bit of a challenge, and the game does show its age as far as that's concerned. What I'll let you do is I'll let you finish up with this first-person shooting segment. I'll come back and wrap it up in just a moment, but I want you guys just to really take in how different this level is compared to the previous levels I showed you. So I'll be back soon.
Move it! All right!
So now that we're out of that first-person shooting segment, we're into a boss stage, and I absolutely love the character designs of the boss. They've got those big, chunky polygons that remind me so much of that mid-90s PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn era. They're charming and unique, and definitely feel of a time and place. You can see here that you can jump on the bosses as well. That does cause some damage, not as much as that laser beam that we're shooting, but between that and the specials and jumping, you're going to be able to defeat him pretty easily. The boss fights aren't that hard, and the game in and of itself isn't that challenging, but it's so much fun to play that it's a relaxing experience that you take from what you get out of it. If you're going in looking for a super hard, challenging game, you're probably not going to love it that much. But if you want to go in, smile, and enjoy what you're looking at, and kind of really get into that world of enjoyment, then you're going to take a lot from Jumping Flash 2. But that's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you do us a huge favor, go down below and hit that like and subscribe button. It takes us a lot of time to make each one of these episodes, and we really love when you guys enjoy them and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, you can follow us on Instagram at Chicago Game Collector, but we will be back next Tuesday with another episode of the series. Otherwise, we hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.